Hey, welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. I'm your host, Coach Tripp, along with a friend of mine, longtime college pro coach, TJ Weist. Coach, it's great to see you.
Paul, great to be back. Good to see you.
And we got a lot to talk about. I want to let everybody know this show is brought to you by Sandy Sansing Chevrolet. Go see Brad Bowes. Tell him Coach Tripp sent you. Give you a big discount. TJ, there's so much to talk about. It's been a while since you've been on the show, so we're just going to get the guests familiar with your story. An amazing story. Born in Bay City, Michigan. Let's start with talking about mom and dad and your siblings and growing up.
Well, I grew up in Bay City, which is about 2 hours north of Detroit. My mom and dad were from South Bend. My dad went to Notre Dame. So I got a little history with Notre Dame. But I went to basketball camp. I went to Digger Phelps basketball camp in 1977 and really fell in love with Notre Dame, but a big time program. That's what I fell in love with.
Yeah.
And then I only played seven games of high school football. Broke my ankle, broke my collarbone. I didn't play much. So coming out of high school, I was about 6'1", 150. No offers, nothing. And at the time, 79, 80. Grew up in Coach Bryant 2 national championship era. I grew up with Michigan football and Notre Dame football, but to me, Alabama was the best program in the country. So I decided to walk on and haven't looked back since.
Holy cow. Talk about that walk-on process, because I went through it in 1980 after they won back-to-back titles. You're from Michigan. We're going to talk about you coaching at Michigan, coaching at Alabama, and all your stops. You're an interim head coach. You even spent a year at South Florida, which is probably the hottest thing. You got such a great story. Talk about your high school, All Saints High School, and when you walked on at Bama, what was your biggest hurdle? I mean, who was your champion in your corner, and what did you have to overcome?
Well, I came out in '84, and I tried to. I wrote a letter to Perk, and never heard anything back. Obviously, and so I just showed up in the fall of '84. I mean, I had no help, no nothing. Nobody back home. I was coming from Michigan. I'd never been in the state of Alabama till I came that fall. Till I drove in for practice or for. So I came in and I was a week late. And I went to see who was it? Dude Hennessy. Dude was like, you can't come out, And he wouldn't let me come out, but so I went to practice every day. I kind of forced my way around, and then luckily I met Joey Jernigan, who was a walk-on wide receiver at the time, and we lived together. And then he got a place at Crimson Towers, and so they let me move in because I was hanging around so much. They let me move in at Crimson Towers, but I wasn't playing yet. And so I lived in Crimson Towers with all those, all those walk-ons, across from Bryant Hall, with all those guys. And I went to practice all the time. They let me come to practice the whole fall of '84, but I wasn't practicing. They wouldn't let me come out. So I had to walk on in the winter of '84, after the season. And Coach Miller was still there. Yep. And Rocky was there. Rocky Colburn was there.
Yeah.
And Rocky was in charge of the walk-on. So, it's this typical walk-on story. We had like 39 guys come out. And by the time Rocky killed us and Coach Miller killed us in lower gym and Miller time, in the concourse and everything. And I don't know, there was probably about 12 guys left when the spring came. And, through the years it came down. I think I was the only one left, after 4 years or 3 years.
Oh, were you really? You're the only one left?
That got my letter. Yeah.
Oh my God, Tej.
But I hear all those stories. Yeah, I hear stories. All my friends. Yeah.
Man, I had walk-ons that were with me to the end. All the way to my senior year. Preston Gothard, who was a Pittsburgh Steeler for 5 years, and you had nobody. Yeah, you didn't know. I didn't know a single person when I went to Bama. It was they made fun of you every time you opened your mouth, right?
Yeah, especially being Yankees.
Yeah, we're Yankees, walk-on Yankees. We had two strikes. We had 2 strikes against us already.
No question. Man, coming from the north, everybody, we had no idea about the Civil War. You come from the north, you don't live the Civil War.
You don't talk about it, no.
And everybody, all these Southern guys would be talking about the Civil War, this, Civil War, that. And I said, the only thing I know is that we won. The North won. And it pushed, that pissed everybody off.
That's what I told him, TJ.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, holy cow! So you get there, you get some playing time under Coach Perkins and Coach Curry, both men that I highly respect, and actually both I played for myself. Perkins for 2 years, and then Coach Curry coached an All-Star game.
Okay.
Have you ever read his book, 10 Men in a Huddle?
No, no, it's
I heard about that book, but he was all right. So you get a GA job in 88, 89. Talk about coaching wide receivers. That was your natural position, and you coached it for quite a few years, almost 20 years. You coached wide receivers, and talk about that position. Talk about the great wide receivers, Desmond Howard, guys like that you coached.
Well, my last game was an 87 to 88 Hall of Fame game, and we were playing Michigan. And I'm being from Michigan, I was kind of, obviously it was a good game for me to be in. And that year I got to go travel to Notre Dame. So I got to dress up for the Notre Dame game. My grandfather was the stadium usher at Notre Dame. I had a lot of connections and everything. So it was an honor, to go and dress out for that game. And then playing in the Hall of Fame Bowl, what I did was I knew I wanted to go into coaching. So at the time, Cam Cameron was the wide receiver coach at Michigan. So I wrote him a letter and said, "Hey, coach, I'm interested in coaching. I'd like to meet you at the game." But at the bottom of the letter, I said, "P.S." I said, "We might want to meet before the game because he won't be too happy after the game." Oh, so later he said that was what got me the job. He said because I had some shit to me. I had a little something, a little salty.
Yeah, I had a little piss of vinegar to you.
Yeah, a little something. So I met him at the game, and then obviously they beat us in that kind of fashion.
Yeah.
But then I didn't go to I started visiting Michigan when Bo Schembechler was still there and got to know the staff, but I didn't get the GA job. So I stayed at Alabama to get the GA job, and then Homer Smith came in. Okay. Homer Smith came in and Bill Curry. I went up to Coach Curry. I said, "Coach, I want to coach." He said, "Well, go down the hall and see our new offensive coordinator." Well, I walked down the hall and there's Homer Smith.
Wow.
And I had no idea who it was. I wasn't in coaching yet. I had no idea who he was. And I spent 2 or 3 months with him. But then I became a GA. And Homer, at the time, I was just a student coach. And then that summer, I was a summer GA in the weight room with Rich Wingo and Rocky Colburn and that whole crew. And it was a great summer. So I wasn't even a GA yet. But Homer Smith's the one who went to bat for me to be a GA that fall. So I became a GA in the fall of 88 and then fall of 89, the 88 and 89 season.
Yeah.
And then, obviously we played in the Sugar Bowl in the 90 Sugar Bowl. And then, Coach Curry left. And then Coach Stallings came in, and I went to Michigan. So what happened was at Michigan in 1990, Bo Schembechler retired. Gary Moeller became the head coach. Cam Cameron became the quarterback coach, and he brought me in to coach the receivers. I just spent 2 years with Tommy Bowden as his GA. We had a couple good walk-ons. Dabo was a walk-on. Dabo. We laugh because he talks about one of his first days. He had to come out in spring too. And one of his first days, he came out for spring practice, and he's like, "Yeah, I was all excited, Tommy Bowden." And he's like, "I'm gonna get to do my wide receiver drills." And the first drill, he goes, "Hey, go over with Coach Weist over there," and he's like, "I'm gonna catch some balls." And he realizes we're doing tackling drills with the D line. I told him I handed him a ball, and I said, "You got one move," and he had to make Robert Stewart miss. So we laugh about that.
TJ, that reminds me of the walk-on DBs. Right before you were there, in the early '80s, '83, '84. Coach Donahue would call us over there, and we had to go 10 yards apart, full speed. You couldn't even juke them. Full speed at EJ Jr. and Byron Braggs. And one time I had to pick up my helmet over there, my face mask, my mouthpiece over there, and my chin strap over there. That was testing. You're like, why the hell am I even here? That was the test.
Loved it, man. I mean, those days that's where you learn how to be tough.
That's how you learn how to be tough, is right. Oh my
gosh. Braggs was a GA for us. Byron Braggs was a GA for us in '89.
Was he?
Yeah, it was great to have all those old guys, and
Oh my
you
God, they were so
Coach Bryant's
good.
coaches and players was just an
Oh,
honor.
their standard and their character were just beyond reproach. Those
Yeah,
guys, man.
yeah,
That's what I know. That's what I noticed when I came down south. I didn't know a single person, but I knew those guys were a lot of good Christians, and they were going to school, and I
uh-huh.
wasn't smart enough to skip any classes, so I went to every class in school, and yeah, that's amazing. So let's talk a little about the places. You go back in 1993, you're the wide receiver coach at Michigan. Man, your career is going. You played in Alabama and you played at Notre Dame, and and then you're back home to Michigan. And I know you guys didn't have the years that you wanted to, but I mean, talk about those years. And you actually came back to Michigan, right? Back in
Yeah,
2015.
yeah. After the Sugar Bowl, I went to Michigan right away, and the 4 years of there, we won 4 Big Ten championships, went to 2 Rose Bowls, played for 2 national championships.
Wow. Wow.
It was just a great experience because I walked in the door and I'm coaching Desmond Howard, Derek Alexander, and then after that, Mercury Hayes, Amani Toomer, Walter Smith. I ended up coaching, I don't know, 9 NFL wide receivers in those 4 years, 9 or 10. And we played for the national championship against Washington in the Rose Bowl, then came back the next year and won it again. Won it in '93. Led the nation in offense with Elvis Gerback, and it was just a great experience. Going from Alabama to Michigan,
Yeah.
through the best
Yeah.
programs in the history of football. So
Right.
it was a great thing. It was a great thing, a great time in my life. I met my wife on a flight. She was a flight attendant coming back from the Rose Bowl, and then we got engaged at the Rose Bowl. We got engaged at the Rose Bowl the next year.
Is Karen
And
from Michigan?
yeah, she's from Michigan,
Is
so
she?
it worked out. We just moved back to Michigan. I was in Baltimore for 7 years, and
Right.
we moved back. I'm taking some time off. I'm older. We're older. You know how it is. I
Yeah.
mean, say I'm
Yeah.
60, and so but my girls, my twin girls, are in fourth grade. They're 10 years old. So I got to spend more time with them. So I'm taking a little time off, spend time with them, figure out what I'm going to do next, whether it's in coaching or not.
Samantha and Carrington, good for you spending time with them, Coach.
Yeah, my
You
son's
keep
a
away
junior in
from-
high school, so we're I'm spending some quality time and kind of
Yep.
figuring things out.
Yeah, they grow up only once, man. They'll be gone. They'll be
Yeah,
gone in 8, 10 years.
yeah.
All right, so man, what are the odds? I know you might be the only person. I'm not so sure, but you were lucky enough to play for coach with Jack Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, and John Harbaugh. Wow.
Well, I got to know. So Cam Cameron was Jim's position coach at Michigan. And then John used to come back to Michigan all the time because Jack used to coach at Michigan. So John came back, and that's where me and John became friends. So after Michigan, well, actually, I was coaching at Tulsa with David Rader. So David was one of my position coaches at Alabama, and he was the head coach at Tulsa. So when I got out, I went to be the wide receiver coach for him, which was a great experience. We beat Oklahoma in Norman, and David, to this day,
What?
Coach Rader, one of my best
What?
mentors, one
You
of my
beat
best friends.
Oklahoma at Tulsa?
Yeah,
You guys beat
yeah,
Oklahoma?
'96, we beat them in Norman.
96?
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
beat them in Norman, and then but I only spent 1 year there, and then after that's when Cam Cameron got the job at Indiana, and
Uh-huh.
brought me back to Indiana with him. Um, so I got to go back. Spent 5 years back in the Big Ten. Played Michigan again, but spent 5 years coaching wide receivers, recruiting coordinator at Michigan. I'm sorry, at Indiana.
5 years.
Yeah.
Wow. And then
So,
you go to Western Kentucky where
well, you got
was
to
that
talk about players. Wait, you talk about players. I had a couple good players. Courtney Roby played in the Super Bowl, wide receiver. But one of my best wide receivers, who I had for the spring, one spring and one game, I coached him at wide receivers, Antoine Randall. we figured
he was a
out
quarterback.
he was a great quarterback. Yeah, we figured out after one game, he needed to go back to quarterback.
Oh
So
my
we laugh
God.
about it. I saw him last year, 2 years ago with the Lions, and now he's with the Bears. And what a great guy,
Coach,
great
where
player.
did you learn? Where'd you learn the intricacies, the details of wide receiver coaching? Was it your college coach at Alabama?
Well,
Where
no,
did you?
it started out with Tommy Bowden. I mean, Tommy taught me a lot of things when I was my senior year. Tommy came in with Bill with Ray I'm sorry, with Bill Curry after
No.
Coach Perkins left. So I learned the basics really from him. David Rader, I was a sophomore, I think, when he was here. Um, and then Jody Allen 1 year, and then Tommy was my coach my senior year, and then I got to be a GA for him for 2 years.
Oh,
And Homer Smith, when Homer Smith came in, he really taught me the minute details of the position, because Homer was so distinctive about what he wanted from players and so precision based. So I learned a lot from Coach Smith from that standpoint, wide receiver play. But then I jump right in. I'm going to Michigan, and I'm jumping right in to All-American wide receivers, which we didn't have at Alabama. We didn't have All-American wide receivers at Alabama. Not until Julio Jones, we had nothing. We had some good guys, some good players, but not first rounders, not all that. And all of a sudden, I'm coaching
right.
4 first-round NFL players, first round, early second round NFL wide receivers.
Wow.
So I learned from Cam Cameron, who had coached him before me, just the Michigan system and how to coach these great players and get them ready, and then go to the NFL and play in big games.
Yeah.
So that's really where I learned my basic wide receiver stuff.
Man, you had a lot. Yeah, you had a lot of champions, TJ. You had a lot of guys that you learned from, man. And that's the secret. That's how you were so successful. You kept learning. You kept understanding, and then you actually back to Michigan. You were at South Florida. Oh, wait a minute. I want to talk about that 1AA title. Was Coach Jack Harbaugh the coach then in Western?
Yeah. So what happened? We spent 5 years at Indiana, and we got fired. And so after we got fired at Indiana, I went to Western Kentucky with Jack Harbaugh. And I was actually coaching my first year. I was coaching running backs and receivers, and Jack was the head coach. And we ended up winning the national championship in 1AA. Great experience, unbelievable experience. 1AA football. I left Indiana in the Big Ten, and so we won the national championship. One of my best years of coaching was with Jack Harbaugh.
Oh my gosh, one of your favorite years.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Just the toughness and the quality of man he was, and coach. What a great coach.
Was he? I mean,
yeah. Well, you go back.
Was he the one that came up with "Nobody has it better, right, than us"?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And Jim always said it. Jim said it all the time. Nobody's got it better than us. And but before that, I go back. My first year at Indiana. Okay, John Harbaugh was the defensive back coach. So for a year, me and John went back head to head, wide receivers, DBs, and got to be really good friends and all that. Then he left to go to the Eagles, and then became the Ravens head coach, all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
So then I fast forward to 2000, and now I'm 2001. I'm coaching with Jack Harbaugh. Well, we won the national championship, and then Jack retired. So then I became the offensive coordinator. Well, Mike brings me in to interview at Alabama. David Rader's, all the Mike Price stuff that happened, and David Rader was the offensive coordinator, and I didn't get the job, whatever. It just didn't work out. But for 4 years, I thought I was going with Mike to Alabama. It didn't, every year I kept going back, and it never worked out. But had a great relationship with those guys while Mike was there. Yeah. But I stayed at Western Kentucky for 7 more years. I was the offensive coordinator, assistant head coach, all that other stuff. My wife was working at Vanderbilt, so I spent a lot of time at Western Kentucky.
Yeah, you did. You sure did.
So after that, I went to Cincinnati with Butch Jones, and really had a good experience coaching the wide receivers there. Butch was a good wide receiver coach.
Was he?
But then, he was good, because he had coached Antonio Brown at Central Michigan. Had him there.
He was a wide receivers coach. Yeah, position coach. Okay.
Well, he was a position coach for Rich Rod at West Virginia. Then he got the Central Michigan job.
Right.
So he's always a wide receiver. So he'd rip my ass every day about coaching. I had to remind him. I said, "You were the one coming to my meetings." He was my head coach, right? But I said, back in the day, you were the one. You were coming to my meetings at Michigan. When you were just a young coach. So what happens is he takes the job at Tennessee, and then we're playing Duke in the Belk Bowl. So I take over as offensive coordinator in the Belk Bowl. Well, we get down. It's a tie game. There's 48 seconds left in the game, and Duke is driving all the way down the field. and they're going to run the clock out, and they get down to the 5-yard line. I'm up in the box. I'm calling plays. I'm like, this game's over. They fumble at the 5-yard line. So I got 48 seconds to go down and get a field goal and try to win the game. Well, we had this play 4 verts that I knew I could get the number 2 wide receiver wide open going down the field. So I called it third play in, and Travis Kelce goes 88 yards for a touchdown to win the Belt Bowl right there, his senior year. So when I was coaching at the Ravens, we faced him 3 or 4 times.
Wait a minute, Teach. Pull that back again. Pull that back. Yeah. You called 4 verts against what? Cover 3, and he hits the seam, and they can't catch him.
It was a man combo. They were boxing the number 3 receiver.
Okay.
And it was 3-by-1, and when the number 3 receiver went 4 verts and crossed the field, the free safety went with him. Yeah. And the number 2 receiver, which was Kelce, he had outside leverage by the safety. And I just told him to stick it at about 8 yards, and the quarterback hit him at about 18 to 20 right down the seam before the free safety get back up over the top. And he went, Kelce, he was a great player. He went 88 yards for a touchdown.
Nobody knows that, man. I bet Cincinnati to win the game, man. It made you look like a hero.
Yeah, exactly.
So, wow, man, what a career. And then the Harbaughs, what a family. You've talked a little bit about Jack and John and Jim. I like Jim. I like it. I like what he does. I like his energy and everything. I appreciated him about 4 years ago when he took his Michigan team overseas on a trip, and then he won the national. Yeah, and then he won the national title a year or 2 later.
He took the whole team to Normandy. They went on the beaches.
God, he took the whole team to Normandy.
So what happened after 3 years at Cincinnati? Butch went to Tennessee after that bowl game. Well, Paul Pasqualoni called me at UConn, offered me the offensive coordinator job. So go to UConn to be the offensive coordinator. And then after 4 games, Michigan beat us. I had Michigan beat, but then they beat us. Wow. And after 4 games, he gets fired, and I become the head coach. So I'm the interim head coach for 8 games. And Ward Manuel, who's now the AD at Michigan, he was my AD at UConn. So he made me the head coach. I didn't get the job. I won my last 3 games. Didn't get the job, and then I sat out 1 year. And when we sat out, we went back home to Michigan. And that's when my wife got pregnant. We took a year off because she got pregnant. We had the twin girls.
Right.
So I stayed right there after we had the girls. I mean, she was 50. We were both 50 when we had the girls.
Wow.
Because we had done in vitro 7 times and went through a tough time having kids.
Yeah.
And so I went to be an analyst for Jim. I wanted to stay there. We wanted to stay close to home with the babies. Right. And so I went to be an analyst for Jim his first year. So I coached with John, and then I coached for Jack, and now I'm coaching for Jim his first year at Michigan.
I say 3-4 years ago, but it was really more like
10 years ago. 10 years ago, 2015.
And then he took the team out and won the national title. But by then, is head coach a lonely position? Yeah, I know you're interim for a little while, but I had a guest on my show that was a head coach and an assistant coach, and he said head coach can be a lonely position.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys say that. Some guys don't. I mean, I think it all matters how you approach it.
Yeah.
A lot of places, obviously, you're doing so many other things besides coaching. The assistants get to coach and recruit, and the head coach is doing all the other BS.
So 6 years with John and the Ravens. And,
before that, I went 1 year with
South Florida.
Michigan. I went to South Florida, Willie Taggart. Willie was with us at Western Kentucky. He was actually the offensive coordinator. And then he was the head coach of South Florida. And then he brought me in to be the offensive coordinator. And then I was he left that year. After that year, he went to Oregon. Oh. And then I became the head coach for the best game of my life. I was a head coach for the Birmingham Bowl. We were playing South Carolina, playing an SEC team in Birmingham Bowl. So all of a sudden, I'm the head coach at Legion Field.
Oh my God, Teach! Holy cow!
And I don't wear my A Club ring, but it's the only time that whole week I wore my A Club ring. And I had Homer's wife. Homer had died by then, and I had Homer. Kathy Smith was there. I brought her to the game with their family, and it was an
Yeah.
honor to go back and be in Legion Field, but
Oh,
also to beat an SEC team, in the Birmingham Bowl.
you
You know,
beat South Carolina. Holy
yeah.
cow.
And the neat thing was right after that, we were still in Tampa. Alabama played for the national championship against Clemson. So the SEC brought me and my wife back. I got to go to the game, be on the sidelines because it was in Ray J Stadium in our where South Florida played. So I
Wow.
got to be on the sidelines and see everybody at Alabama. I got to be on sidelines at Clemson. Got to be up, pre-game. I was walking around, with all the former players, Derek Glassick and Jerry Duncan, and we were signing autographs like like our big time or something. And got to be
How
a
fun.
celebrity, Alabama celebrity, you know,
Yeah.
um, and then watch Dabo beat Alabama. Rich Wingo was in the stands right behind me and everything, so it was pretty cool.
Did we call Dabo? Would Dabo be interested? Did you think did anybody approach him? Or was there any inkling that Dabo would leave Clemson to go back home to Bama?
Yeah,
Have you heard
I
anything?
no, I mean,
Don't know anything.
no, you got to make the assumption that they
I
would
was
have wanted
hoping
him, but I don't think he's so ingrained in Clemson.
entrenched in
He's so
Clemson.
loved there.
Right.
He's got so many Alabama people. He's had
Yep.
so many he's had so many players coach for him. He's had so many players that have sons that have played for him. Craig Sanderson's son's playing for him now. Both of
Yeah.
Kevin Turner's sons have played
Kevin
for him.
Turner's son.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I went and visited. I took my son to the South Carolina game last fall. So I think literally in December, I took my son to Dabo. Dabo gave my son recruiting passes. We got out. We got pregame. We were on the field pregame. Went through as a recruit. Dabo. We stayed with the team the night before and everything. Um, so the next day they were playing South Carolina. So I'm standing on the field talking to Mike Shula. Mike was, he
Yeah.
was at South Carolina. So I'm talking on the field with him, reminiscing a lot of the old Alabama things. And
Wow.
but
Yeah. She was the
Dabo,
OC. She was the OC there.
yeah, oh
So
yeah, yeah. And so, but Dabo's got is so ingrained in Clemson.
yeah,
I
he
don't, I
is.
don't. He wouldn't leave even for Alabama. I wouldn't think.
Teach what makes a quality assistant coach, because they're really the the engine behind the bus. The head coach drives it, but the assistant coaches, is it communication? Is it culture? Is it being tough on them and hugging them later? What makes a great assistant coach?
I think as a head coach, you have to have a trust. There's got to be a trust that that position coach is going to do his job in
Hmm.
getting the players ready to play the game, and the whole package, mentally, physically, knowing what to do, knowing how to do it, being coachable, being on time, all those things. Because the
Hmm.
bad coaches don't get their guys ready. The bad coaches or the poor coaches let their players get away with things that hurt the
Right,
team. That's what
right,
that's what it comes down to. So if
yeah,
you got an assistant coach that you can trust that will do it the way you want it done, whatever beliefs you set for that team,
right,
and can teach the players how to win games, how to do their job, but also how to win, how to handle themselves, how to be tough, how to respond well, how to buy in, especially these days. It's so hard for players to buy in and believe what you're
right.
doing,
Yeah, and then you don't
and
bring the heart. If you're not bought in, you don't bring the heart. All right, let's
no
let's take
question.
let's take two games for example. Teach Alabama versus Florida State and Florida versus South Florida. South Florida does not, those are the guys that wanted to go to Florida that weren't good enough. And they
Right.
wanted that. They just wanted that game more. I watched that. I texted Keon Hilton, assistant DB coach down there. And man, I said, what a great job you guys are doing at defense. I was impressed with the quarterback against BYU. And, Hart still has a place in the game of football. And that's why it's the greatest sport on earth.
No question. It's got a huge, huge place, and if you can match the talent with it, and knowing
Right.
what to do and making plays and adjustments and everything, anybody can win any game.
That's where you get the championship the games,
No
right? The
question. No
championship
question.
teams.
No
Wow.
question. And if the other team isn't doing that, like Florida or anything else, then that's where it all comes together.
All right, let's take a look at your collection. What are you willing to show us? It's an unbelievable Alabama collection, folks, that Coach TJ Weist has. He has been gathering stuff since the beginning, since he knew he was going to be a coach out of college, and he started at Alabama when they closed down the old locker room Coliseum when they built Mel Moore facility, and you also were up in Michigan at a good time when they were making transitions. Coach, just tell the people a little bit about your collection and maybe show them some stuff.
A little bit.
A little bit.
So easy to say a little bit.
I don't want you to give away any secrets or anything, but
no, man, like you said, I was just
it's a labor of love. It's a labor of love.
Well, I was lucky to be there in a transition time because I got to see a lot of things and really wasn't actively collecting. But when eBay started in 97, 98, everything changed for a lot of collectors because all of a sudden the world opened up to a lot of things. So let me just take you through some things.
Okay.
And see if we can make this work. Let me switch this around, and I'm going to talk you through some of these things and
all right.
How good some of these things are, but I think people will like them.
A lot of Bama fans watch the show, so they want to see some, primo stuff. And I know what kind of stuff you have, but I've never told anybody. But you have an amazing collection, from jerseys to letters to.
Well, it's one of the things starts right here. All right, is that right? Can you read that, or is it backwards?
I can get a little closer. Okay. All right. Read it to us there. The red zone. What is it? The danger zone.
Okay. My screen.
That from Coach Bryant? That was from Coach Bryant's office. That was from Coach Bryant's office.
This was in Coach Bryant's office in 1958. He had this done. Coach Luna, he had to make it. So this was behind Coach Bryant's desk in 58. And then it was in the locker room until about really all the way through. You talk to players, and I've talked to other different players and quarterbacks and Namath and Stabler and all those guys. They remember this chart. Coach Kriska told me he remember all the chart, and then this was there as a GA.
All right, explain that chart for what Coach Bryant why he thought that was so important to have it.
Well, one of the reasons was, and it's in his book. He had to teach the quarterbacks. They didn't allow. I can't remember when they changed it, but they didn't allow substitutions.
Right.
And so the quarterbacks had to call their own plays. So in terms of teaching they had to teach the quarterbacks. Pat Trammell and then obviously Namath and Stabler and Sloan, they had to teach them to call their own plays. So they had to teach them what the thought process was of coming out in the danger zone, the freewheeling zone, the gut zone. Now, this chart was in his book in 1961, Coach Bryant's only coaching book. Okay. But this chart was also. So I took it back. Let me take you over here.
That book, by the way, 90% of it was written by Coach Gene Stallings, by the way.
No question. So right here.
How to build. I wish I had a copy of that book. Do you have a copy of that, How to Build a Championship Football Team?
Of course I do. Yeah,
yeah.
That's what I got. So that chart is in the book. But right here, this is the playbook from 1934 of Dixie Howell.
Oh,
right?
my
Quarterback
goodness.
in the 1935 Rose Bowl team, Dixie Howell. So this is his playbook from 1934. So this is an actual Notre Dame box offense. These plays were run in the 35 Rose Bowl, that whole 34-35 season. Okay. And then, but in the playbook was this chart right here. Okay. So here's the same chart. It's got some of the same things if you can read it.
Right, that's where you got it from. Yeah.
Here's the danger zone. And the running zone, transitional, take a chance zone.
Oh, I got it from Frank Thomas.
Scoring zone, So this was the same chart that Coach Frank Thomas had.
Yes.
Okay, when Coach Bryant was a player.
And Coach Thomas played for who, TJ?
Well, Coach Thomas was a quarterback
for.
Coach Thomas right here was a quarterback for New Rockne and the George Gibbs. And Coach Rockney's called Frank Thomas the smartest football player he's ever had, and his roommate was George Gipp. So Frank Thomas came in after the 31 season after Wallace Wade won a national championship, and then coached obviously, Coach Bryant. But I've got a huge collection of Dixie Howell stuff. So right here, this is Dixie Howell's playbook. Okay. This is the actual drive chart from the 35 Rose Bowl. Okay. So you can see that's how they took statistics of the game. Well, this drive chart was given to Fielding Yost, the head coach at Michigan, and he sent it to Dixie Howell, and then I got it from his estate. All right, but these are tickets to the game. These are pictures of the game, the 35 Rose Bowl, a full ticket, and then this was the picture right here. I gotta see. That's the team picture.
Here's Coach Bryant right there. Yeah.
Well, what you can see right here. Here's a schedule that came out after for the Tournament of Roses, but this is one of the schedules, and you can see the players right here. Well, here's Don Hudson, the great Don Hudson, one of the greatest wide receivers in history of the NFL. Well, obviously, Coach Bryant was playing, and Coach Bryant, they called him the other end because Don Hudson was so good, and then Dixie Howell was the quarterback, and really Dixie Howell was the MVP of the game.
Do you think that's what gave Coach Bryant the humbleness that he, as a player? I know Bud Wilkinson gave it to him as a coach, but I bet.
Oh yeah, because that's where he learned his coaching. He learned in coaching. He said going to clinics, riding with clinics with Hank Crisp and Frank Thomas. That's where he learned how to coach from. And they, as a player in 1935, as a senior, he went to clinics with them, and they let him clinic. And that's where he learned how to coach, he said.
Wow.
So all this stuff right here, like right here, when you bought a Chevrolet in 1969, you got 4 prints. This is the famous print, the Howell Hudson print. And this is Dixie Howell's copy. So right here, you got to understand this is the 1934 Tennessee game. My phone's kind of goofy, but this is Dixie Howell throwing to Don Hudson. And then that's Coach Bryant right there as a player, 26.
Wow, that is beautiful.
So that's his copy. That's a Rose Bowl, a Tournament of Roses, or the Pasadena, the 1927 Rose Bowl train poster, an original. All these things are original. None of them are fake.
1927 Rose Bowl. That's what Coach Bryant. He listened to that game in Marl.
No. That was this game, the 1926 Rose Bowl.
The 26 Rose Bowl.
That was the first. That was the first radio broadcast of a college football game, and Coach Bryant heard that game.
Oh, okay.
Thinking about Alabama was listening to that game.
29-13 win was his first love.
And then this is the 27 game right there.
Okay.
So this wall kind of right here has got all my older stuff.
Right.
There's Coach Bryant as a high school player at Fordyce right there, the Red Bugs. That was their kind of poster that was in one of their newspapers. This is a team pictures, all the individual pictures after the season, national championships, 1935. That was Dixie Howell's,
Wow.
And then the next year, you see it right here. This is a schedule clapboard from Jimmy Walker. So Jimmy Walker was one of Coach Bryant's roommates, and Jimmy Walker was the team captain in 1935 right here. So that's a schedule board in the 1935 season.
Wow. His teammate and captain. Yeah.
And then here's Coach Kriska, the 1946 Rose Bowl, kind of the same picture as the team picture as the other one. So you see Frank Thomas there, and Coach Kriska's on that team.
Wow, Coach Kriska, man, what a man he was. I loved Coach Kriska.
Yeah.
Love that man.
There's a poster from the 1959 Liberty Bowl, the Coach Bryant's first bowl game right there.
Oh, that's right. That's why he picked the Liberty Bowl for his last game.
Yeah, there you go, right there.
He had a special place in his heart for the Liberty Bowl.
Yeah. So,
wow. Michigan, show any Michigan. Oh, there's Cornelius.
I got all it.
Is that the goal line stand?
Yeah, but right here. So this is the first thing I ever got. That is the original sign. Now, can you read? Is that backwards reading or is that forward?
No, that's good. Restricted area.
Okay. Well, that's the sign that was above the locker room in the Coliseum. So that's the first thing that Eddie Ellis, one of the guys on the track team, gave to me after when we moved into the new building.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I ever had right there.
I remember that sign.
And then right here, Coach Kriska was a good friend of mine, so he signed this for me. And then
Yeah.
he got this from the 46 Rose Bowl. He gave that to me.
Oh,
And then
wow.
do you remember? I told you that story where Coach Kriska gave me the panoramic. That's the panoramic from the Penn State game where you were making plays right there.
Oh, is that 84?
The 84. I was on the sidelines. I got a
We
sideline pass, and I was on the sidelines standing next to Joe Namath watching you
Oh
make plays.
yes, I remember six. We beat him 6-0, Tage.
But I
That
was
was a
at Coach
definite.
Kriska's house, and Coach Kriska said, "Hey, you want anything?" And I said, "Coach, you pick out something for me, from your collection." And he picked this picture out.
Oh man, I want to buy that from you.
I got a
Oh
copy.
my gosh.
I got a print for you. I'll make a copy of it.
Okay.
And
Oh
then
my gosh.
so Rich became a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
After he was our strength coach, and so here's me and Rich. But then here's one of his jerseys with the goal line stand.
Cool.
But I made sure I put the third down in there, and then the fourth down.
Yeah, because he made a stop in third down.
Yeah. And then
Goal line stand. Yeah. How about what was it? Third down was third down. Who was in the DB that made an unbelievable play in the sideline that came off his man, Don McNeil.
Second down. Was it Don McNeil?
Don McNeil, second down. Amazing play.
So, I got all these street signs, the original, Paul Bryant signs from the stadium and all that. The neatest one I got from Larry Ruffin was this one. This is an original street sign right there. If you remember, that was in the 70s. That was the street next to the stadium, opposite.
Right. Yeah.
Opposite.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, that's an original sign. Yeah, from there. So that was neat to get that.
Yeah, that is cool. You won't have none of one of those. Those are.
Yeah. And that's one of the game boards from Homer Smith that he would take his quarterbacks. Gary Hollingsworth would remember, and Jeff Dunn.
Homer Smith was brilliant, man. He had David Smith, a good quarterback, and he could teach anybody into that. I mean, he was gosh, he was something else, man. What book? What's a good book to read about Homer Smith? I know he's probably got a couple.
Well, here's his novel. He wrote a novel.
He did. He wrote an autobiography, or
he wrote a novel, A Game to Play, right here.
Oh wow, how cool!
And he wrote it while he was coaching at Alabama.
Oh my gosh!
And then he's got all kind of books on right here. I think this is one of them right here. Handbook to Coaching the Passing Game, right there.
So X and O book, yeah, I've seen that.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's the novel about? What's the novel about?
It's just, I think it's about a mixed race couple. Homer signed it for me. A mixed race couple playing college football and in the South, dealing. Yeah.
How interesting.
So this banner up here, that's what the coaches got from the '61 national championship. Whoa. And I got some old helmets. You do. That one from '61. That one's from '65. This one's from '62. That's Mike Fracchia's helmet. This one's from '53. Same style that Bart Starr wore. A couple of white ones, Biscuit and Mike's. And
you got shoes and biscuits and Clay Whitehurst.
Oh yeah. And I got a couple of leather ones. But a lot of this stuff, like right here, this was on Coach Bryant's desk right there. That's one of his original marble.
Where did you get that? I remember that.
Oh yeah, one of the marble ones. You remember that one a bit?
Beautiful, man. That is cool. That's what he had on his desk.
And then this was a team trophy that the team gave the head coach in 1908, with all the players on the back and everything. One of the oldest artifacts, right there.
Oh my! A 1908 Alabama trophy.
1908.
Holy macaroni, spaghetti, and pasta fazool.
Well, who was this? Kenny Martin, with a coach in '73. What is it? '72. SEC champions, got this right there. Some old trophies and stuff.
Oh wow! And the jerseys, you got a ton of jerseys. We don't have time to go to the jerseys. But
what? Okay.
All right. Let's go see some of your jerseys.
Oh no! You got to see the good stuff.
Okay.
Let's see the good stuff. So, I've got a lot of. You saw the playbook. All right, I'll show you this. These are two of the most important pieces of jewelry right here, besides my A Club ring. So this right here is a Tournament of Roses, 1935. If I can see it.
Oh wow!
This is a player's Riley Smith. I think 1930. Sorry. I got to get this right. This camera is messing me up. All right.
Wow.
You can't see that. Damn it! I can't see.
Yeah,
it.
there you go. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
That's from the Rose Bowl, the Tournament of Roses in 1935.
And that's
really
the little trinkets that the players received, right?
Yeah, yeah. But this one right here is from the. I can't see this. You can't see
right there. Yep.
Is it in focus? Because it's not in focus. Okay, so this is Wallace Wade's. This is the head coach's trinket that he got, watch fob, they called it, from the Tournament of Roses, from the Rose Bowl 1926.
Holy cow, 1926.
Southern Conference champions. Okay. Everything's reversed on my phone, so you can't see it. Tournament of Roses.
Yeah, we can see it.
And then it says Wallace Wade, coach, right there.
Holy cow, Tage.
Yep.
Yeah, that is so cool.
Well, it's not as cool as some of this other stuff, So everybody knows the will to win. This was the after the 26 Rose Bowl. This was the recruiting booklet that came out for the team after the game.
A recruiting booklet?
Yeah, a recruiting booklet that came out after the game. Okay, the will to win. Okay, with the panorama.
Will to win. That's called the will to win.
Yeah, and then this is the leather-bound one. There's a brown one, but this is the expensive one, the red leather one. And they did the same thing in 1930 after the national championship in 1930 with Wallace Wade. Okay, but a lot of people don't know that they actually had a recruiting booklet in 1924. So this is the 1924 recruiting booklet right here. Just talks about the athletics at Alabama, but then it's a football recruiting booklet. Here's the 1924 team right here. Crimson Tide 1924.
That's the Rose Bowl winning national title.
No, this is 24. This was
they won in 25. 26.
They won in 25. Yeah, the 25 team was the 26. This was in 24. So this was the first booklet. That's the first recruiting booklet right there.
The whole team. There was like 15 guys.
Now, let me show you this right here. Everybody knows the story of Kentucky, where he left Kentucky because Adolph Rupp got a Cadillac and he got a watch, right? Right. So right here is
George Bland on that team, on those teams, those Kentucky teams.
Right here is a receipt, 1961. This came from Coach Bryant's house, 1961.
Yeah, flip it up. There you go.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay. 1961.
Yeah, right there. Yep.
I don't know why this is all crooked for me. 1961. This is dated the day of the Sugar Bowl when they won the national championship. Coach Bryant getting a Cadillac Sedan DeVille paid for by the university. The day he won the national championship at Alabama. They bought him a new Cadillac. How about that?
Holy cow. In 61?
61, the 61st national championship, 62.
His first, the year I was born, his first. That's right.
So I came through my years of collecting. I came across a lot of things. Well, last year I got the chance to buy some of Coach Bryant's stuff, a trade for Coach Bryant's stuff from his house. So nobody's seen this, but I'll show it to you. Everybody wants to see it. So these are scrapbooks from when Coach Bryant was a player in 1934, 1935. Okay, like this is the scrapbook that Mary Harmon put together for him in 1934.
Folks, did you just hear what he said? This is Coach Bryant's scrapbooks that Miss
Mary. And no one's seen these. No one has seen these.
These have not been seen before. Right here on Coach's Corner, you're seeing this for the first time ever. Coach Bryant's scrapbook, beautiful.
So obviously, you can see Mary Harmon put it together.
Yes, putting them up.
But it's got all the articles, preseason, Frank Thomas. Going through all the way through the season, game by game. She put it all together. And
Oh
then when
my,
you get near the end, it talks about the going to the Rose Bowl. These things are falling apart, but let me take you back here.
holy cow! Coach
Here's
Bryant's personal scrapbooks.
yeah. So here's a train menu from the game. There's telegraphs from different people. Paul Bryant, from Albert Bates, the Kilgores, which are his uncles. Here's one from Paul Bryant, Care Alabama football team, Huntington Hotel. Bear, remember, mother is praying for you. Love you, mother. There's a telegraph from his mother.
Oh my goodness! From his
Okay.
own mother. Holy
Yeah.
cow!
So here's the game. Talking about the game. There's a game program. There's where is it? There's a Christmas card Coach Bryant sent to Mary Harmon. And then it goes on where Mary
Wow.
Harmon, they got pictures. Mary Harmon put pictures of herself when she was a senior that year or junior,
She's a
and
beautiful lady.
he was in the ROTC. There's Coach Bryant as a player doing a demonstration clinic with Coach Thomas.
Wow.
So that's one of his scrapbooks. I got a whole bunch of them.
You got more than one of his scrapbooks?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
So
God, Tage.
here's his scrapbook from. I told you the show could go on forever. Here's the scrapbook from 1935, his senior year. Obviously, didn't go to a bowl game, but all those the great game when he broke his leg and came back and played. There's all the articles about him, everything about him as a player. All those things. So that's the
Oh
whole
my
scrapbook
gosh,
right
they were
there.
detailed. Yeah, she took good care of that
Uh,
scrap. Look at that, the
But
original.
I got a lot of things from his house. I got these. This was his. All right.
Oh, this was hanging up in his house.
This was his first staff in 1958. All right.
Whoa,
These
his
are
first.
pictures from his house on his wall. There's Joe Namath. I think it was 65 Orange Bowl. Right there with Keith.
See, with Trammell there?
No, Trammell's right here. Okay, there's
Yeah,
him.
right there. There's Pat Trammell's favorite player.
There's Namath right
There's
there.
Namath. Yeah, there's Namath. And
That was ABC, and then right here, there's Trammell again, and there's Trammell when he went to see the President Kennedy.
oh, all those pictures. He had all those pictures of Pat Trammell in his house.
Oh yeah, I got about 16 pictures, and then right here,
Pat Trammell is by far his favorite player.
no question. And right here is one of the oldest Alabama documents there is. This was in Coach Bryant's house right here. It's a 1903. Got to get away from the light here. It's a picture from 1903. That's the head coach, the team captain, and the manager. 1903. Huh? That's crazy, huh?
The head coach, the captain, and the manager. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
like the driver and
So I don't know why he had that, but he had that. Okay.
That's because he treated guys like Little Joe and other managers with respect.
Let me show you some other things. This was in Namath again at Coach Bryant's house. This is one of Broadway Joe's New York menus. Okay.
Wow.
And then this was him as a active member in the NCAA at Vanderbilt with AFCA coach's badge. And then
that was one of his first assistant coaching jobs at Vandy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right here. Look at this. At Vanderbilt, right there. Vanderbilt. Bear Bryant, Vanderbilt, right there.
Wow. Look at that. That is so cool.
Hey, check this out. Here's 3 letters. When he finished playing, the New York Football Giants, the Chicago Cardinals, and the Brooklyn Dodgers all wanted him to go play pro football. So this one's dated January 14th, 1936 from the Chicago Cardinals. This one's dated December 11th, 1935. Okay.
Wow.
Right after his senior year, the end of his senior year. And then this one, I'll take this off. Hold on. Can you see me?
No, I can't see you.
Okay,
There you go. You're back.
This one was signed by Wellington Morrow, the great Wellington Morrow.
Oh my
The
goodness.
owner of the New York football
Wellington
Giants.
Mara wanted Coach
Oh,
Bryant to play
and
for
he
him.
wanted to coach, so he didn't want to play. He wanted to play
Right?
and coach, and they wouldn't let him do both.
Oh, okay. He wanted to be a player coach, and they wouldn't let him do
Yes,
both.
they wouldn't let him do both.
In college. Wow,
So
that's
he
interesting.
coached at Alabama. He stayed. He took the union job for like a couple months, and then came back and coached as an assistant coach in 36, 37, 38. Okay, but after the 37 season, they went to the Rose Bowl. So here's his sideline pass from the 38 Rose Bowl, and then Mary Harmon's ticket from the 38 Rose Bowl.
That is some cool stuff, T.
Now another thing.
This is just a portion of your collection.
No, this is unbelievable. So right here, this is no one has this. They've only got this in the museum. So people would recognize this. This is his game plan, his rolled up game plan from the people can remember
82 last game
from this game right here. Remember the stamp? That is the 300th win. That's the 300th win against Kentucky in 1980. Okay, so I figured this out the other day, so players would recognize it. You know, this is his game plan. So it had his depth chart. You know, Jesse Bendros. You know, you go down here, and you've got Jacobs as the quarterback. You've got Jackson, the running backs, Major Ogilvy right there. Scott, Jackie Klein, you know, EJ Jr., Clements. Look at your DBs, Benny Perrin, all these guys. Jim Bob Harris, all the great players right there.
That's how he made every substitution.
Yeah, right, so that was his depth chart. And he's going for two. Got all of his trick plays all right here. But this is the actual game plan that was rolled up in the stamp picture, because that's his stamp picture from the 300th game. So that's
my God. Holy cow, TJ.
That's it right there.
That is unbelievable, dude. That's got to be the king of everything right there. That
is up, yeah.
That rolled up.
But it goes on. I mean, here's a letter. Jimmy Walker was one of his best friends, and Jimmy Walker died in the war. They were in the war together.
Whoa.
So Lieutenant Paul Bryant sent a letter from where does it say Paul Bryant right there to Mrs. Walker, a condolence letter to Mrs. Walker right there. Okay.
Oh,
and then finish it off with Lieutenant Paul Bryant with Paul Bryant. So that was a letter sent to
his friend's widow. His friend's widow, man. His teammate.
Well, he went from Alabama and went to Vanderbilt. Okay, so when he went to Vanderbilt, so let me back up here. This was a 5-page when he was coaching in Alabama in 1938. He was coaching the offensive line. This is a 5-page description of what a guard is. 5 pages. Wanted, look at this right here. From a coaching standpoint, this is unbelievable. Wanted, a 20-year-old high school graduate football player who graduated with an A average, weighs anywhere from 185 to 300, can run the 110 flat, likes to rough it up, and is as mean as a snake. Anyone who knows a boy like this needs a home, please notify Paul Bryant, University of Alabama. He sent this out as a recruiting letter to high school. Well, then he became a head coach at Vanderbilt, and he was the interim. No, I'm sorry. He became assistant coach at Vanderbilt for Red Sanders. Then he was an interim head coach when they tied Kentucky at 7-7.
Yeah. He even helped turn Vanderbilt around there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I love Billy Davis sent him a telegraph. Bear Bryant, acting head coach, Vanderbilt University. Good luck. We're all pulling for you except for 3 hours on November 23rd.
Wow.
So,
holy cow.
I got telegraphs.
Yeah, that's really special. Thanks for pulling that stuff out and showing us, TJ.
Oh, that's nothing. We're still going, right? We got time?
Yeah, we got as much time as you want, man. This is going to be a special. They're going to have.
So he goes into the Navy, okay. And I got letters. I got telegraphs. Here's a telegraph from him to Mrs. Paul Bryant. You know, well, my thoughts are with you. Keep smiling. This is from U.S. Navy. 1943. I think he may have been in either Europe or somewhere. I don't know where he was, but I got about 15 of these telegraphs. I got all these letters from
Oh,
him.
you got a letter when the USS Uruguay collided with the USS
Oh yeah.
Salamone when Coach Bryant was on the ship ferrying
Oh
troops
yeah.
to Africa. He got a
No, that
letter
whole
from.
story. I told you that. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that is unbelievable.
Here's a letter. He loved writing letters to Mary Harmon's mother and to his mother. So here's a letter to his mother.
Okay.
Okay. My love and greetings to you on Mother's Day, Paul Bryant.
Mary.
You know what? I think this is her mother.
Her mother?
So, yeah, I got a bunch of them with both.
Hey, he talked about mothers so much, dude.
Oh yeah, and
Even
it's
to the end,
proof.
and I had him the last 3 years. He even talked about talking to your mother, calling your mother, writing your mother all the time.
So here's his commission letters in the Navy, all of his commission letters, everything's in there. And the neatest part was he became head coach of the Georgia pre-flight, but
right.
They sent him out on recruiting missions. So I've got his itinerary of going to almost all the SEC schools: Opelika, Auburn, Montgomery, Tuscaloosa, going back to Alabama as a recruiter for the Navy and Georgia pre-flight, trying to get college football players. Birmingham, Chattanooga, Sewanee, Nashville, Cookeville, Knoxville, going to the University of Tennessee, all the way through. And these are all itineraries. He's trying to get Holt Raspberry here to play football in the Navy from Alabama. And just all these letters were for coaches and where he was going, where he was going to recruit. You see the cover there, Lieutenant Paul Bryant.
That is truly
it's endless. I mean, I've got
endless.
Yeah, I've got 10 times the amount of this stuff.
Oh my gosh, TJ, that has got to be so fun, man. I thoroughly enjoyed that, man. Thanks for doing this, man. I really do. I know we've talked about it, and you've collected this stuff over the years, and I'm jealous, but I'm so proud of you for doing that, because that takes a lot of work and a lot of conscientiousness and it takes some luck, man. You got fortunate to be at Michigan and Alabama in the transition times when they were just throwing stuff away and throwing stuff out. But man,
no question, right? Well, one of the best ones I've got right here is Coach Donahue's. Can you see this?
Yeah,
you read it? Coach Donahue.
Yeah,
I can't see it, but Coach Donahue's playbook from 1966 to 1978 or something. He kept the same playbook for 13 years. So I've got his whole playbook, Coach Donahue's whole playbook, and his speeches. I got everything from him, playbooks, all the different coaches' schedules, everything like that.
Oh, Coach Donahue was one of a kind, man. Let me tell you.
Question.
He was one of a kind. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He should be in the College Football Hall of Fame.
All right, so we're going to take 5 minutes here, and we're going to show you the jerseys and helmets.
Okay.
We can do that. I got to go through here.
Yeah, we can do that. We can take. Heck, we've been on an hour. We can take 5 more minutes.
Oh yeah, we've been on an hour.
Man, it goes by so fast, man. Hey, our Alabama fans are going to really enjoy this, because even non-Alabama fans are going to enjoy this, because you have items that have never been seen and don't even know exist.
So I just moved here, so I'm still putting it all together. That's an actual banner from the 1946 Rose Bowl, a street banner. And then all these are some of the banners from
315 ring. Yeah, we got a 315 ring.
315, yeah, with the Coke, and then Legion Field. I love these football capital of the South, and these are two at 1992 SEC, the first year of the SEC championship at Legion Field.
Oh, those are great.
Oh, this one was signed by Peyton Manning, Gene Stallings.
Oh my gosh.
Dave Barker, Danny Werfel.
Don't have American pickers go in your house. They'll have a field day. Don't call up that show.
And you're looking at some of these shoes. Remember these shoes? Remember those?
Yeah, I remember those Nikes.
Yeah. There's not many left.
All right,
so I mean, I don't have all day to show you these jerseys, but just jerseys through the year. I really don't care about the bowl game jerseys as much, but I love the practice jerseys. We've talked about that before.
Yeah,
so it all started out. Yeah, I've got a practice jersey that Let me see if I can pull it out here. So this is a Bama practice jersey from 1931. Started wearing Bama practice jerseys in the early 20s. So there's a practice jersey from 1931. And as the players, we all know we all wore different colors. And this was
Right.
this was in 65. There's one of Namath's practice jerseys. He wore blue ones and then crimson ones, but he also wore an orange one. So there's one of his.
Don't touch. Yeah, probably don't touch.
But I've got them all. I've got them all from the 40s, 50s, all the Bama ones, all the way through the years.
60s, 70s, 80s is when those are old.
Oh yeah, and just like this would have been one like Namath wore as a player, and then the ones that we wore, all the different ones
that signify your string. So if you wore one color, you were first string. You wore green, you're like the Jets were second string offense.
Yeah.
Then the Blues, I wore a blue one. They were second, third string defense. The Blues.
Yeah, they were all different colors. The yellow and the blues, and the greens. All the greens, all the different versions.
Yellows were scout team or something.
Yeah, and there's one of Bobby Humphreys right there, 26.
That's first string. Yeah, the first string offense wore white. First string defense wore crimson.
And then and then all the other times they didn't say Bama. Yeah, you remember the old jerseys like this had nothing on them.
Yeah.
In the early '80s, Coach Bryant was like, "Screw it, we're not going to do anything." But just all the different colored the practice ones I really like.
No,
and then this was Ray Abruzzi's. This was Ray Abruzzi's letter jacket. Obviously, a teammate of Coach of Joe Namath. Played with him at the Jets.
Wow.
So that's Ray Abruzzi's.
Ray Abruzzi's Letterman jacket.
And then, the players in the 60s always wore, for away games and traveling to games, they always wore the U of A red leather jacket or red suit jackets.
Okay. That was in the 60s. All the players wore it. You better have a tie on. You better be dressed up.
And then, the Bama staff ones. You remember all the Bama staff ones.
Yeah, those jackets. Yep, I remember those. 70s, 80s. Yep.
Yeah, I remember. You got all those. And then the ones that we wore when we were there.
Yep.
And all the sweaters. Yeah, the leather sweaters from the 50s and 40s and, all those.
Wow.
All the different versions they used to have. A bunch of different ones, bunch of different styles. But I love all these. You remember all these, the old Bama staff ones?
Oh, TJ, I'd be wearing that stuff out every day, man. I'd be wearing it out.
All the different versions,
I'd go to a high school. I'd go to a high school game with a 1935 sweater on or something.
Yeah, there you go.
TJ, have you done that? Have you done that? Have you gone to like a
no.
Oh, come on, man. They are so cool.
So this is a 1928 sweater jersey right here.
Wow. Sweater jersey.
Old sweater jersey. This is in 1953. Okay, jersey right here. And you could tell, like I told you before,
good number, 23, TJ. Good number.
Yeah, I saw that. But you knew it was a Alabama jersey when you saw the Fred Singleton patches.
Yeah.
Okay. 60s and 70s.
Write your number on them.
Yeah. So that's how you can really tell it's an Alabama jersey. I've got them from the 40s, the 30s. This is the 2 years they wore stripes. In 58 and 59, they wore stripes on their arms here. Coach Bryant's first 2 years.
Wow.
Just all of them through the years.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. All these all through the years. I just got them all. And then the tearaways.
The cutoffs. There's the late 70s, early 80s cutoff.
Yeah. And then, there's Joey Jones. There's a tearaway from Joey Jones right there, the white one. I don't know if you could see that.
Fastest white boy I've ever seen in my life.
And then I got a bunch of the Rutledge brothers jerseys. I like the white ones. Where are they? I don't know if it was Jeff Rutledge and some of those other guys.
Jeff Rutledge.
Just going through Lenny Patrick.
Wow.
And a couple of bowl jerseys, but I don't know. I like the older jerseys better. The good ones.
Yeah, I do too. Teach, thanks, man. Thanks so much for sharing your collection. That was special. That was really special, man. I
It's
know
good stuff.
You got some great stuff. It's really wait till you get it all organized and get it all set.
I just moved. I'm really just unpacking everything.
Could charge people for coming to the Weist Museum.
Well, there's stuff I had in boxes for years I haven't even seen.
You got stuff in boxes for years you haven't pulled out.
Yeah, well, I've been coaching. We've moved 13 times. It's like 13 years. Coaches have been moving. We moved 13 times, so which means I've moved my collection about 7 times.
I hope that's your last move, Coach.
Yeah,
I hope it is.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, thanks for sharing it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That was a special treat, man. You didn't have to do that, but that really made the show special. And thanks for spending the time with me. And let's not wait so long to come on next time.
Well, yeah, definitely. We'll get together soon and talk some Alabama football.
Yeah, if you're ever down this way or going to a game Tuscaloosa in the next couple of years, let me know.
Sounds good.
We'll get together. We'll get together, Teach. Great to see you, buddy.
Man. Yeah, good to talk to you. Appreciate it. All right, take care.
Wow. Coach TJ Weist. It was a long show, but man, for those Bama fans, that was a treat. I hope you share this show with everybody. I want to thank our great sponsors, especially Sandy Sansing, Hill Kelly Dodge, Seiler Agency, Pensacola Glass, just on Ronnie's Car Wash, on and on. Go out and catch a high school football game. I know we're actually recording this earlier, but this will show on Saturday. Have a great sports weekend, everybody. Stay tuned for these important messages. Without these great sponsors, this stuff just wouldn't be possible. So long, everybody.
When it comes to buying your next car, truck, or SUV, you need a team that puts you first. Here at the Sandy Sansing dealerships, we're proud to serve Pensacola and the Gulf Coast with the best selection, trusted service, and deals that work for your family. Just like great coaches build great teams, Sandy Sansing builds lasting relationships with every customer who walks through our doors. Because when it comes to finding your next vehicle, there's only one name to remember. Sandy Sansing can.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray, and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait. Wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
When it comes to buying your next car, truck, or SUV, you need a team that puts you first. Here at the Sandy Sansing dealerships, we're proud to serve Pensacola and the Gulf Coast with the best selection, trusted service, and deals that work for your family. Just like great coaches build great teams, Sandy Sansing builds lasting relationships with every customer who walks through our doors. Because when it comes to finding your next vehicle, there's only one name to remember. Sandy Sansing can.
75 years of service and high tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than a simple pane of brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.